All right, here we go. Webinar 3, Organizing Google Workspace. So this is going to be about organizing some things such like Gmail and Google Chrome, and basically allowing you to use your Google Suite a little bit better to organize your work desk, essentially, your virtual work desk, so that you're not getting clogged up with some things that take away from the more important parts of your job. All right. So, without further ado, head along now. So, we're going to be talking about Gmail first off, then a little bit about Google Drive, Google Classroom, Calendar, Google Calendar, of course, and Google Chrome. Then we've got a Q&A section if anyone's in and would like to and contribute. We can discuss anything then. All right. Let's get started, shall we? Gmail. So, this very large number is the highest known number of unread emails. Like some person's work email out there somewhere has received so many emails, they've got almost 400,000 unread emails. Now, try find anything useful in that haystack. So, basically talking about organizing your Gmail. There's going to be a lot of missed emails potentially. If you don't mind, I'll just quickly. Oh, computer's frozen. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining, guys. So, you're going to have some potentially missed emails. So, leaving all your emails in the inbox places a burden on you to actually and accurately scan through everything for important emails. Okay, so it's going to be quite difficult. Try and see if you can find the most important email within this lot. All right, we've got quite a few here in our emails, and it just takes a little bit of time to quickly scout through all of these, scan all the way down, and just find out which one do we think is the most important here. However, if we are to use some functionality within Gmail, it actually makes it a little bit easier to find our most important email. And so we're going to have a bit of a look at that. So it's a lot easier to do that now. And this is related to FTA and our 90-day report. Anything to do with the FTA team and the visa team, and your visa here for working in Thailand is, of course, probably the most important thing you need to take care of, because without that visa, it's essentially your ticket to working here in Thailand. So making sure that that's up to date and everything's squared away with that is the most important thing. And you wouldn't want to lose that email in all your emails here. Just bear with me for 1 moment.
Help them with the accent and, yeah. Because I know some of them are going to be like, oh, come on.
All right. So, how can we do some of these things to help improve our Gmail? We've got some options that I recommend. Starred emails first, using custom labels, and also hiding some labels that you don't actually need that often. So let's get into these ones and see what we can find. First of all, the starred emails first. In order to do this from your Gmail page, you want to click the settings button up the top right, looks like this. And then you're going to scroll down this new settings tab that pops out and see if you can find the starred first option. And then once you click that in this little option right there, then you can start starring in your email inbox, and it will actually put those starred ones up to the top of your email, so then you can refer back to them later. Quite useful for anything that has a due date that's coming up that you might need to keep an eye on, or any important emails. It could be administrative related, it could be visa and FTA related. So making sure you keep them starred and so you keep an eye on them is a good idea to help organize that way. Okay. Let's look at the next section here. Look at the hidden labels. Now, this is a little feature that I don't think too many people know about. It's not a massive game changer, but it actually does help a little bit. We can see here there's only 3 options here, the inbox, the sent, and the more options. So let's have a look at how we can change that. So again, clicking on the settings, but this time we would go to the See All Settings button. Okay, instead of scrolling down, we're going to See All Settings, click on that one, and then click on the Labels tab. And now you can have a look and hide or show, if unread, any of these labels. So if you have a look at these labels here, over here, you've got inbox. Obviously, you need to see your inbox. You can show or hide your start, snoozed, important, sent, scheduled, drafts, all email, spam, and trash. So now I actually hide a lot of these. You can see there. I show the sent because I quite like to go into that one quite often. Show if unread is useful for a couple of those, and hide for some others as well. Now, the reason I would hide or the starred or important functions right here, I actually hide them because I've already starred all the important emails and that stays up the top of my inbox. I don't need to look at a separate inbox with just my starred. Now, this is just my recommended settings. You can use whatever suits you, as long as you don't have too many emails in your inbox that really clog up your workspace, because it's really hard to find what you're looking for sometimes or see what's on your to-do list. It's a lot easier if you start organizing things and moving them into certain boxes and labels, which we're about to look at now. Now, changing that hidden labels allows us to have less room here, because we don't need all those labels, and more room for our custom labels. So custom labels are awesome. Basically, you can add labels here with this plus icon. Let's actually get to the animation. It'll show us. Okay, here we are. So custom labels. You want to, oh, it's not the settings button, it's the plus button. It goes into this area where you can change the settings of your label. But if you click on that one, you can therefore add any label you want in here. So I've got these ones as examples, so my different classes. I've got ads, which I also throw random little system emails that I don't need. Coordinators, when I get some important information from my coordinators when they're helping me out. The HR team, any of my managers, like my head teacher or my program manager or someone like that. Anything related to me and my personal stuff I put in there. So at the end, you know, if I choose to move to another position in BFITS or move on somewhere else, I know everything that's related to me personally in this email is in this folder. I can go through there and I can delete all of that so that the next person using this account doesn't have access to any of my personal stuff there. So that's a really useful one as well. And then others, teachers, and the visa or FTA team, of course, has their own label. So again, we're clicking the plus icon here. We're giving ourselves a label name. We're clicking the create button here. Then we click the three dots and we can change the label color. I like to color coordinate things. It makes it a little bit easier than just having it all gray or all black, right? Just makes it a little bit easier to distinguish between the two of them, or between all of them, rather. Okay, so that's the label color function here. All right, there we go. So that's another option we have here. Now, another thing that likes to clog up our inbox is marketing emails. Now, you often sign up to a website, usually a cool website, to give you some access to some good resources for English, for math, for science, for ICT, any sort of educational website. But what they like to do is add you to their marketing emails as well. And you don't really need their marketing emails. I don't know too many people who like to sit and read them. You get loads and loads and loads and loads from different companies and different websites. So what I recommend is unsubscribing. And there's two ways you can do that, right? So get rid of them by unsubscribing here within the button, within your inbox. So this is the marketing email that I've received. And then you can just highlight over the top and the right section over here, and you can just click that unsubscribe button. Now that's a feature that Google has introduced rather recently, so it doesn't work perfectly. It works, I would say, like 99% of the time, but I have had one subscription that didn't unsubscribe me from. But if you go to the actual email, so if I open up this email, click on that, and then scroll all the way to the bottom of the email itself, most of these will have an unsubscribe function. So you can click on that, and it takes you to a website usually a really annoying website, and they try and make it a bit difficult for you to unsubscribe. But then I try to unsubscribe from all future emails, and that will save you from receiving those marketing emails. Highly recommend that. I try to do that on my personal email as well, honestly, but there's just so many. So that's a good option as well, unsubscribing from marketing emails. Now, another really good function for Gmail here is the filtering emails. So if you want to be able to filter your emails, we can use the filter function to automate certain things. So it's basically a function that allows you to say, if this is happening, or I receive some email from this person, then do this action. And that action can be quite a lot of different things. And I'll show you some examples. Now, up at the top of your normal email, you've got your, what do you call it, your like search area. Up in the top right there, you've got the filters. Okay, so you can actually click these search options or filters. It brings up this dialog. You can add the details of what you're trying to filter. So for example, we're going to use this, the no-reply@classroom.google.com. Now this Google Classroom email, we often get quite a lot of emails from them about what's happening with our classes. Students submitting work late, people commenting on, like sending private, like students sending private comments on your assignments that you're setting them, and scheduled emails have been sent out, or scheduled assignments have been posted, something like that. Okay, so we're going to try and filter these out so they're not all clogging up our inbox as well. So you can select that. You can even go to the trouble of filtering out certain emails that have certain subject lines, or has certain words in the actual email itself. Okay, or words that aren't there. So if it doesn't have comment, as an example, you could filter out those ones. And you can filter out different sizes, whether they've got attachments, etc., depending on what you want to use the function for. It's quite versatile. But primarily, you would just select something like that. So from this particular email, then we're going to do something with it. So add the detail there, then click Create Filter over here. Don't click Search. You'll just search for different emails under these categories. So you want to do the Create Filter when we're creating the actual filter. Now you can also reach this filtering section from within the settings function as well, which we looked at to create those label boxes and all that. But this is the easy way to do it. So create filter. Now you can then select your filter options of what you want it to do. So a popular one would be skip the inbox. So that means it won't appear in your inbox. And if you apply label instead, so you apply a label and you skip the inbox, that means one of those label boxes we created already, we can take that email and it goes straight into that label box without actually reaching our inbox. So it won't sit in our inbox. So you could create a Google Classroom spam label box and it goes straight there instead without clogging up your classroom. Right? Now, another great filter you can do is this one here. I quite like this one, to star it. So if you want to, you can say certain emails from certain people get starred immediately. So that way you're not going to lose it at all. And I would do that potentially for FTA if they're quickly messaging you about, sending you an email about something to do with your passport or your visa and something needs to happen. That's a really good one to have starred straight away so you can see that at the top of your emails. Or potentially your manager, like your program manager or your head teacher, if they're sending you emails and you want to have a look at them immediately. Okay. Now, once they've been starred automatically by the Gmail, you can unstar them and move them into different archives and boxes if you don't want them there, etc. But at least it grabs your attention at the very beginning. Okay. And then once you've selected all the options, you just click Create Filter and it's done. Can make things a little bit easier for you. Now, Google Drive. When you first join us here at BFITS, you tend to take over another person's account, right? So when you think about it, our account, we're going to be giving that to someone else as well later on down the track. So it's always a good idea to organize it, not just for yourself, but for the people who will inherit the account after you. But organizing your Google Drive. You can create folders within Google Drive, and you can, when you create the folders, you can sort your files into easy to find locations. Less clutter and easier and quicker to find things. So for example, I've got my admin folder here, got my exams folder here. Unit material is probably my favorite folder. I would put everything I would need for Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, separated by grade level if I'm teaching multiple grades. So everything you would need, whether that's slides, printouts, handouts, test papers, something like that, all contained within a folder for that particular unit. So I would have my Unit 3 material all there, Unit 4 material ready to go in that folder, and I can find it straight away without having to scroll up and down and have a look through all the loose documents here. And you can see in this example, I don't have any little documents here, any loose documents. Makes it a little bit easier to find everything, okay? So admittedly, it does take a bit of time to organize and to put everything in folders. And that can be a bit of a hurdle, you know, something that might seem a bit daunting to begin with. But once you do it and you keep on top of it more regularly every time you were to create a new lesson plan or a new material, and you put it into the correct folder straight away, it just makes it much easier to use, and you don't have to go searching them down and looking around all the place. If you've got a lot of stuff and you're sort of trying to do a clean slate, what I like to do instead of just deleting everything, because I know there's still useful things in there from previous teachers, is I like to create an archive folder. That way, with this within here, I can dump everything. So then this little area down here is nice and clean. And then as I go through the school year, I will go into my archive and search for anything for the upcoming unit. Take it out and then file it appropriately if I believe it's been, you know, quite useful. Okay, so you can move things around quite easily within the Google Drive area. It's basically like having a normal Windows folder, and you can do anything like that, like move folders in folders and files around. Okay, now how to find anything if you do have a bit of a mess. Okay, using the search function. So you can just search up the top here for any old file name. You could do Unit 3 or U3 or whatever Unit 3 is called. Maybe you're doing grade 9 science and you're doing exploring space, so it might be called exploring space. Or maybe you're doing the subunit, which is the early history of space, something like that. You can type those kinds of words in here, and then you might be able to find some content already. So that could be some tests or handouts within the documents. You might be looking for slides in particular, you know, presentations. So in that case, you could go and use these filters here, filter by type, for example, to get the presentations. Or if you're looking for forms, you're looking for photos or spreadsheets. It makes it a lot easier to search through that way. Okay, so type what you're looking for in the search bar and customize your search with the type, people, and modified filters. So for example, the people, it could be, you know that your manager has shared a document with you, but you can't find it. So you could search by that person. So you could search by your manager's name, and then it may be more likely to show up rather than just searching through all of it. Maybe you couldn't remember the name of the file, but you remember who shared it with you, your manager, so you could search by the people instead. Or if you remember roughly when you used something last, you could do the modified search as well, but that's not as useful as the other two here. All right, so that's your organizing your Google Drive. Basically just cleaning it up so you know where to go, where everything is. You don't have to sift through all these different documents and everything. It's all cleanly organized. All right, let's have a look at Google Classroom and what we can do there. We've already covered a little bit of this in the previous webinars about how to organize your topics and your settings within Google Classroom to make things a lot easier, like the grade categories function and the grading periods as well. That really helps out. But we're going to look at a different area in this webinar. So, Google Classroom notifications. The email notifications that we were talking about earlier that you were trying to filter off, you might actually go straight to the source in this case and see if you want to check off some of these notifications that you're getting by email. So if you're still getting too many emails from Google Classroom, have a look here. You can edit the settings. So where to go on the settings? Down the bottom left. So this is the sidebar here where it has all your classes on the left-hand side of your screen, right? Like how it looks like there. Scroll all the way down, and then you've got your archive classes, and more importantly right now, your settings. That's where to find it, down the very bottom left. So click your settings, and then you can actually look here and toggle your notifications that you want. Okay, so you can turn them on and off with this little button. The blue would mean it's on. Now, my personal preference is to turn off most of the notifications, except for the comments from students. So I don't need to know when I've scheduled an assignment that I've scheduled to post has been posted. I know it's going to post because I told it to post at that time. That's fine. I don't need an email about that. So I'm going to turn that one off. You know, I don't need emails personally when students submit work late, because I'm always checking over and over every week, a couple times a week, just to make sure that who's behind on work and when I can start grading some of the work that they submit in late. So I don't need emails for that. But if a student asks me a question about an assignment and I don't see that, then they're going to think potentially I'm ignoring them, or they may need that information. So I want to make sure I see those ones, so I keep those email notifications on and turn everything else off. So I get those comments from the students, I can see when they've asked me a question, and then I can go ahead and answer that question for them. Okay, everything else I don't care about, because I'll find another way to find that information. Up to you and your preferences though, but have a look and see what ones you actually do want then. All right. Now, this one, maybe probably well known already, but in case it isn't, reorganizing your Google Classroom order. So you can actually change the order this is in. So I like to be a little bit paranoid, not paranoid, pedantic is the word I'm looking for. And I like to have 9.1, 9.2, 9.3. And then I have my elective after that. So maybe you've got M1/1, M1/2, M1/3, something like that. Or maybe you've got grade 4, grade 5, grade 6. Whichever order it's in, you can change that. You know, so you have it in the correct order. And I even like to color code things. So the color code I give here is actually the color code associated with the timetable that I received from the school as well, which makes everything match up. And I do that the same in my Google Calendar, which we'll see shortly. So change the order. Feel free to change the order that makes sense to you. So you can do that 2 different ways. Click the 3 dots here, and then click on the move, and it'll tell you where you can move it. And you can tell, and then you can tell it where to move it. Okay. The other one we have here is actually, and most commonly, clicking and hold, hold, and dragging the tile itself. So click, hold anywhere on the tile. Could be down here, could be up here, and then you just drag it around and go to the left and to the right. Just like how you would drag an assignment up or down between topics on your actual Google Classroom classwork page. So click, hold, and drag, very easy. Let's talk about calendar now, how we can enhance our calendar, or our Google Calendar. So, number 1, highly recommend adding your timetable to your calendar. All right. For me, the most important thing here is getting a 10-minute warning for class. Sometimes I'll be chatting in class, in the office with another teacher, or I might be heads down creating a lesson or creating some research, or maybe I'll just be taking a bit of a break on my phone or something like that. When you add your timetable to a calendar, you can get a nice 10-minute, or you can even change the time if you want like a 5-minute warning for when your class is coming in. So you can see here on a Monday, I'll have 9.3 at 9:30. Okay, and I've got my elective directly after. I've got my lab down here, and I've got my 9.3 over here, and my these ones are cut off. My 9.2 over there, 9.2, 9.1 over here. And as we can see, I've actually color coded the same yellow, blue, and
yes. What we do is maybe.
Okay, I'm going to just mute you. That didn't seem like it was a part of the conversation here. So 9.3, I've got green. 9.2, I've got blue, and 9.1, I've got yellow as well. So if you're interested in color coding it so it makes it easier between your Gmail, your Google Classroom, your Google Calendar, and your timetable that you've got printed out as well. If it's all the same color, just makes it a bit easier. All right, so those are the options you have there. Now, if you want to make it recurring every week so that you don't have to do this more than once, basically, once your timetable is set, it's loaded into the calendar and you just leave it and it's recurring forever. And that's perfectly fine. So how do we do that? Creating a calendar event. So let me go back, sorry. You would just click on any of these spots. If you just click here, somewhere in this little box here, it's just going to open up a little event and it'll look like this. Okay, your calendar event's going to be like this. Now, click anywhere on the calendar to bring up the new event box. You can change most of your details here, but I personally like to go to the more options section. You can change the times here, the start time, the end time, add your title, add your guests, etc., and anything else you need to do as part of this. You even change the color. But going to more options will give you more options. And in particular, the notifications options. So you can look at the recurring options here as well, right? So you might have this on the 10th of August. This is an example one. Oh, that happens to be a Saturday. But if you were to do this, like say on a Friday, 9:30, you've got a class, ends at 10 or 10:20 or 10:30. You can select that there, and then you can repeat that every week, right? You can go to the does not repeat, click that option there, and make it reoccur every week, and that way it'll be there until you don't need it anymore. And then, of course, when you maybe have a day off, or like for next Monday, we've got Queen's birthday, Mother's Day, you can actually delete that event, and just that event by itself, I'll go back to it too. So if I wanted to say this was Mother's Day coming up, I could delete these events from my calendar so I don't get notifications on my day off or anything like that. And it would be deleted for that event only, which means your recurring events still occur the following weeks when you do have class. Okay, so those are an option as well. Get back to here. Now, the more functions area allows us to add notifications here. So by default, every event will have a 10-minute notification ahead of time. So you can just leave it at that. You can adjust this. You can make it 5 minutes if you want, or you can make it 5 seconds. You can actually change it to seconds, right, within the minutes section here. What I like to do as well is if I'm getting my visa renewed, because the visa is so important, and the FDA team is great, right? They'll let me know what I have to do ahead of time, etc. But at the end of the day, it's still my visa, and I should take some responsibility for it. So what I do is I create a visa expiry event, and I put that on the date that my visa is expiring, and then I put a notification here, and I change this 10 minutes to be 1 week. Okay, and you can do that, making it so that I've still got that week to check in with FTA if they for some reason didn't manage to get in contact with me in this particular time, so we can actually make sure that everything's okay with my visa and there's not going to be any issues. All right, add as many notifications as you like. Up to you how you sort of use that, really. Okay. Next. Okay, Chrome, Google Chrome. Now, Chrome profiles is probably my favorite thing to do with Google Chrome itself. But basically, if you've got your personal and your work emails on the same laptop, you can actually separate them into 2 different profiles. So see, this is my taskbar down the bottom here. I can actually see which profiles I've got here. I've pinned all of these 3. So like 3 different work profiles, or 1 work profile and 2 personal profiles, or whatever combination you have, right? So I've actually pinned them to the bottom of my computer taskbar there. And the way we can do that is, first of all, going into Chrome, and in the top right section, if you're logged in already, you'll have your icon, but it might not. It might just have a blank icon. You can click on that and then go all the way down here to add. and then just log in like normal, and then you'll have that profile there. But the key thing is, when you see this, once you've logged in on your profile, it'll come up with an icon with your little display picture there. See that little picture of me? If you right click on that one, you'll be able to pin that to your taskbar, and that way it'll stay there. And so you can put one for your work, one for your personal, and you can keep them separated, and you don't have to deal with the work stuff, or open any work things when you're not needing to do any work stuff, and you won't accidentally send emails from your personal email when you're communicating to people from work. So yeah, make sure you're in the right account at the right time. Really quite helpful to pin that there. And then once you're done, you can, or if you've changed maybe a personal email or something like that, you can actually go into those profiles in here, right, in your settings, and all these profiles listed here. You can delete them as you need. If you don't want them there anymore, you can get rid of them as well. Okay, so I find that to be quite useful. Within Chrome as well, you've got your bookmarks. Okay, so usually there's a lot of stuff going on here, but you can create some folders. Where have I written that? Haven't written that, but you've got folders here. So you can create folders within your bookmarks, so you can organize things together. For example, I've got my my grading, and I've just labeled that there, and I've got all my grade sheets here for the semester. So I know where I can find them any place I need to. Anytime I log into my Google Chrome on any computer, let's say I go from my work laptop to my personal laptop or something like that, I can find my login, my grade sheets there, and I can fix them up if I need to. Any other shortcuts as well you can have there. You've also got your BFITS shortcuts that are default over here. You can play around with them. If you need to quickly find Google Drive, Google Classroom, anything like that. And any other resources which you use quite frequently. For example, this question wells is like an AI question generator, which is quite helpful sometimes. So I like to have that up there. I also like to have my slides up there in case I need to access my slides when I'm presenting in class. Okay, other things like Class Dojo, very good to have, and Lookit or any other resources that you use often with your students. Okay, yeah. Anything else? You can group tabs together. So this one is probably a little bit less commonly known, but see here I've got here socials, sheets, and BFITS. I've got these tabs. Now, if you right-click any of your tabs up in the top of your browser, you can actually add them to groups. So I've got them different colors again. And that way, what you can do is, if you've got all your grade sheets, right, as an example, you might want to group these all together. So you can group them all together using the Add to Group function by right-clicking on your tab in your browser. So add them all to the same tab, and that way you can close them off at any time, so they won't be open. So you don't need it all the time, right? You don't need your grade sheets open all the time. So you close it off, but when you do want them all, you can bring them all back together by clicking on your tab, your colored group tab here. And so if I click on sheets right there, it'll open up all the sheets that I've saved inside that group of tabs. Can be quite useful when you want to look at things, but not all the time. Right? And you don't want to have to go and open them all up individually again. So highly recommend that. Yes, all right. That's about it. We've got a sort of Q&A section, or another. I wouldn't mind having some people come in and share some of the tips and tricks they use within Gmail or Google Drive or Google Classroom, anything like that really helps them out. I think that's a good opportunity to do that here. But yeah, I might just open the floor for some other people to contribute now. You got any questions or comments? All right, no problem. Nothing at this stage. I will put the recording and the slides up on Google Classroom when it is ready. So it is just going to upload the recording to me a bit later, and then I should have that up tomorrow at some time when I've got the opportunity to do that. And of course, when I mean I'll be uploading it, it'll be going to the BFITS training resources, Google Classroom.
Hi, James. I did have
Thank you,
one
guys.
question.
Yep, Jamie, go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. So, you know, for the tabs, when you're selecting them and you're putting them like on the top so you can have those tabs available to you, sometimes like if the computer restarts, my tabs will delete, right? Or they'll be in the history. But let's say if I have like 45 tabs open, and so if I restart the computer, the 45 tabs will be like in the history, and I just select history and it'll open, but not all the time. So I guess my question was, how can I recover those tabs if I don't see them as a group in the Google history?
Good question. That's actually within the settings. Now, I'm trying to look for it at this point in time. I know it's in here. I just don't know where to go immediately, but I'll share my tab and we can have a look. So basically, I just opened up my Google Chrome settings, and you can have a look in here for some settings about whether when you close your on startup, here we go, this should be it. Oh, it's set by the organization. I see. Okay. So usually you might be able to select here between open a specific page or set of pages, or continue where you left off and open a set of specific pages that you want. So it looks like by the organization, it has been set to a specific set of pages. What we can do going forward is we can see if there's some interest in changing this within the organization. And potentially we may be able to customize this particularly for certain program managers or for certain individuals. However, something that may help is what I was referring to about these groups of tabs. So if you actually want to, you can create some of these groups of tabs here and have them as a bookmark. So for example, if I were to click on, what can I open? Let me just open up this one. So I've got this group of socials, right? So I can open up this and it'll open up all my different socials that I need to open up at that particular time, okay? So I've got like my different websites in here and it'll open up all of them. Now, if I wanted to, I can right click on that socials and I can go hide group and it goes away completely. So that might be something you're interested in, so that when you close off your browser and you open it up again, you can open up the most important tabs to you by customizing it within a group.
Okay.
So you can right click and add to new group, and then you can name the group and choose a color, and then you can click save group, which will put it up in this section in the top left. So that's probably the best option at this point in time if you've got some important things you want to open up every time. But if anyone else listening to this has a question about this setting within continue where you left off on this specific set of pages, please let us know. And if there is quite a few people requesting that, we may be able to make some changes across the company or on a smaller scale.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
James, you're on mute.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you. So what is it? We've got Jay is also saying here within the three dots you can open up your where is it? The history, and open up any setting, anything you recently had in your tabs there, as Jamie and Jay have both said now. So that's pretty useful as well if you're missing out there. Feel free, let me go back to my slide here, just so I can present this page. Oh, I have to change it this way. Okay. So I would like, if anyone else has any issues or something to do with using the Google Suite, so whether it's Gmail, whether it's Google Classroom, Slides, Docs, not Excel, Google Sheets, Google Classroom, Google Calendar, Google Drive, any questions or issues around that, feel free to send me a message. My email is here on the page, hr2@tkt.ac.th, and I will answer you and try and help you out as much as possible. Maybe you don't even know what your specific question is. Maybe you've just got an idea of something you'd like to do. Like, hey, I'm getting these emails and I just want to organize it a little better, right? And I want to use this star function, I want to use labels, but I'm not sure exactly how to go about it. Feel free to reach out to me and I can do that, assist you as best I can. Because there is a lot of functionality and a lot of good things you can do within Google. It's just about finding out how to do it and then applying it so that you can enhance your experience and not be so frustrated with things that are going wrong or you're missing something. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Jackie, for joining as well. Thank you, Mark and Giselle. All right, I think that's it. Cheers, everyone. See you next month.
Thank you. Bye.